to another video with your girl Stephanie. I'm so excited today because I finally got my scrubs to come in. So let me show y'all these. They're super comfortable. They feel like pajamas basically. These are my scrubs. They're Grey's Anatomy scrubs because, you know, we gotta represent Meredith Grey. But yeah, guys, I really like these. They feel super comfortable and it feels like I'm not even wearing anything at all, which is kind of scandalous. But girl, you gotta be comfortable if you're gonna be wearing these uniforms all the time. I was kind of nervous because I thought my scrubs were gonna come in time because my school was kind of lacking on sending us the supplies list on time. Like, everybody was like, where is this list? Like, do we even need any supplies? But eventually it came to us, and you know, it's finally coming together, like all my materials that I need for nursing school. And I can't wait for orientation, which is in 2 weeks. And yes, I'll be making a video about that, so look forward to that video. Anyway, enough talking about me. Let's get started with this video, y'all. So today I wanted to talk about my experience working as a caregiver. I could have gotten my CNA instead, which is what a lot of pre-nursing students do, but your girl did not want to waste any money. I was already broke and I didn't want to be even more broke. Even though getting your CNA is very beneficial, I just didn't want to drop like any money to get it. So instead I ended up becoming a caregiver for a while. As a caregiver, I was in charge of 4 people who had some type of developmental disability. My shift was from 8 in the morning until like 4 p.m. There always had to be someone taking care of these people. So every 8 hours or so we would rotate to the next person, and that's just how we made sure that someone was always present to attend to their needs. And so when I got there in the morning, they had already eaten breakfast, and I was just basically just chilling with them, just talking to them, watching television. And then around 9 a.m. I started getting them ready to take showers. So in order to stay ahead of the game, I would get everyone's like set of clothes for the day ready. So when it was their turn to take a shower, they were already ready to go. Because the thing is, I didn't really want to waste any time because my people that I took care of, they were kind of sneaky. Like, one of them, it's hilarious because he would go into the kitchen and basically just like grab like snacks, drinks that I had like personally brought in for myself. Like, he would drink them or just like spill them all over the floor. So it was detrimental that I stayed on top of the game, because when I took someone into the shower, I had to like make sure that my ears were hearing things that were not in the shower, because these people were kind of sneaky, but you know, they were awesome people to take care of. Like, I never really had a problem with them. They were super sweet. And yeah, guys, so showers were kind of hard only for one person because she was in a wheelchair. So, you know, I had to learn how to shower someone who was wheelchair bound, which is really difficult, and it requires a lot of like physical like work, because like a normal person just stand in the shower, you know, you're doing all this by yourself. But someone in a wheelchair has to have a chair in the shower where they lay down, and you have to transport that patient from the wheelchair to that chair, and you have to do that all while keeping them away from harm's way. So, you know, girl was breaking a sweat in there, but you know, I got it done. It wasn't really a challenge, but it just required a lot of physical work. So if you're trying to be a caregiver, be aware that you're gonna have to do some lifting, and you know, just make sure you're comfortable with that. And then my other 3 clients, one of them basically could shower on their own, and the other 2 I just had to help out. Like, they would just stand in the shower and I would just help them out in any way that I could. which was not that bad. So after showers, we would just chill in the living room for a while. You know, if anybody wanted to play a game, we would play games. And then, you know, after that, we just put on the television, and then I just started cleaning, because part of our, you know, chores were just to clean, do laundry, and, you know, just make sure the house was kept in order and there's no trash on the floor, wiping down the counters, cleaning the kitchen, and all that. And then around 11 o'clock, I began to just, you know, think of things that I could cook, because I was in charge of, you know, making lunch and dinner and making snacks. And, you know, since I'm Mexican, I made sure they got to eat some Mexican food. Okay, so while I was thinking of things to make, I was also making note of things that they needed in the house so I can tell the manager. For example, if we ran out of drinks, I would say, I'll text her, you know, we need some drinks at this house, or toilet paper, just stuff like that. So I just let her know what we needed. So around 11:30, I started to get the food ready, and that was kind of my favorite part, because I love to cook and I love to see how people react to the things I eat. Like, I want them to enjoy the food and want more. Like, I don't know, it's just how I grew up. Like, if I see that you are hungry, I am gonna feed you no matter what. So with these meals, some of them had to be a little bit special, and by special, some of them had to be blended, because some of our clients really couldn't like chew the food, so we would have to blend it for them, and that's how they would eat it. But there were others that didn't have to, you know, get their food blended, and they could just eat regular food. So you just had to make sure on what clients could eat and what they couldn't eat, because there are times that if they eat food that they're not supposed to eat, like they can't really eat it, like they'll start choking, and then you're gonna have a problem. So you have to be aware of those things. So after lunch, it was time to pass out meds. I don't know why, but I was kind of nervous and learning how to pass out meds, because like, what if I messed up? But, you know, it wasn't even that hard. Like, you would just have a binder with the client's name and like the pill that they needed to take during what hour, and, you know, it made it more easier to just keep track of what pill goes to what client. So yeah, after med passing, I basically just took them outside. A lot of the people that work there don't really take their clients outside. They're just really confined inside, and I don't really like that, because I feel like everybody needs like fresh air and some vitamin D from the freaking sun. So I took them outside, and we just chilled out there and just, you know, got to feel the atmosphere, like the wind, and I just feel like it made their day, because, you know, it sucks just being in one spot indoors all the time. So, you know, that was kind of a cool part. So after our little excursion outside, we would go back inside, and I would prepare their snacks for them. Another thing I want to say is, like, my clients, 3 of them weren't very verbal. Like, they would just make sounds. But the cool thing is that, you know, working as a caregiver, you freaking learn like what people need, even if they can't even speak to you, which was really cool. So, you know, like, I kind of wondered how they would like tell me when they're thirsty so I can give them something to drink. But you just know, like, after working there for a bit, you get the hang of it, and, you know, you start to be very acquainted with working with people who express communication in different ways, which is super cool and super beneficial for future nurses, because communication comes in so many different ways. It's, like I said, it's physical, it can be written, it's verbal, it's so many things. Like, you don't even realize it, but you'll get the hang of it. Don't forget, if you have to take care of people who can't really express what they need to you, because you'll get it, don't worry. around 3ish, I would just turn on the TV for them, and they could basically just roam free in the house, do whatever they want, because technically it's their house. Like, that's their house. They can do whatever they want. And around 3ish, I started to prepare dinner. I really didn't need to start making dinner. Like, that was the job for the next shift. But I like to cook, and I like to make people's days easier. So I always just made sure at least dinner was already like cooking, and when they got here they could just like turn it off or just wait 30 minutes while it's still cooking, so they won't be in such a rush, because when the next shift comes they have to do med passes like right when they get there. So I didn't want them to feel that pressure, so I just made their day easier by just cooking. So some of the things I hated about the job was, some people who worked there did not shower their clients like they need to be. Like, I feel like you need to take a shower every day. And, people would tell me that there were people that work in there that didn't really give clients showers. Like, they would just wipe them down with like baby wipes, and for me that was like a huge no. Like, why work there if you are not gonna give your client the best possible care that they can receive? Like, you're there to help them, not to make your life easier. You're there for them. So that's one thing I really hated and did not approve of. And I would tell my manager, and she'd say that she would try to see who's not giving them showers. But luckily the people that I worked with during my shift, they were really like on it. Like, they would always get the clients everything that they needed, whether it was food, showers, drinks, attention. They were on it. But for other people who were in charge of other houses, it was not good. And so I'm so lucky to have had such a great team while I was working there. And another thing that I hated was during my training, I was at the day center, which is what they called it, which is where they would go for activities. And one lady who was in charge of one of the activities, she really didn't even do any type of activities with them. Like, they would just be sitting there. And then there is one client who was like always sleepy, and she would literally force him to stand the whole time he was there until he was able to leave to go home. And I would see him, and he would just be like falling over because he was so tired, and I was like, that's just not right. And then another girl, they didn't let her like drink any liquids because they didn't want her to pee, so they didn't have to change her. And that's fucking wrong. Like, excuse my language, but that is just so freaking wrong. Like, these people think that you're there to help them, and they get there and they're afraid of you. Like, that's not how it's supposed to be. If you're trying to get into the medical field, why even bother if you're gonna be that way and be that person that is just really cruel and evil to others? Like don't get a job here if you're not willing to put in the work and care for people. Just stay at home, freaking go work somewhere else. Like, don't come there. So those are some things that I just didn't like about the company, and how many of the rules and things were just really overlooked. So I decided to leave there because I really didn't see myself continuing my medical experience with them, because it just didn't feel right. So I decided to leave, and I am grateful for getting that experience, especially with the people I worked with on the weekend, because they were really nice and they were always on top of it. Other than that, everything else was kind of questionable, and I'm glad I left, but I'm glad I got to have that experience. But if anyone else wants to be a caregiver, I just want you to know, like, put in the work. Don't be lazy because y'all don't want to, shower a person or clean their soiled clothing. Like, that's your job. Like, you signed up for it. So, own it and, like, be true to them and be true to yourself, because later down the road it's gonna come and bite you back in the butt, and you're gonna be paying for it, whether it's here or up there. So yeah guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and some of y'all might be interested in becoming caregivers. So yeah, I don't want to scare y'all and say that like all of the people who are caregivers are evil or cruel or mean to do harm to others. It's not always gonna be like that. There's gonna be maybe one person that you come across that is like that, but for the majority of the part, a lot of the times people really do care about other people, and y'all should definitely get a job as a caregiver. Like, it really adds experience to your life and to your future career. So definitely recommend becoming a caregiver, and I'm glad y'all guys watched this video. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Adios.